Of all the various ideas and theories born from modern philosophical and scientific discourse, few are as mind-bending and intriguing as the proposition that we might be living in a simulation. The idea here is that our world could in fact be a devised creation, a simulation by a very advanced civilization. This idea has gained favor with great strides in computing power, simulation technology, and theoretical physics. Public figures including Elon Musk have famously discussed the possibility of this theory, and it's one taken rather seriously by philosophers, scientists, and futurists. Here are 5 reasons why people believe we may be living in a simulation. The rapid advancement of technology. Probably the strongest argument in favor of the simulation hypothesis is the high-speed advancement in technologies, mostly in computer science, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality. This argument finds its largest support in the work of the Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom. His 2003 paper, "Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?" became a cornerstone of the discussion. Bostrom's simulation argument, in brief, says that if one were to carry on with technological advancement, eventually one would obtain the computational power to simulate worlds in incredible detail. Simulations could get so good, in fact, that the simulated beings within the simulation could not conceive themselves to be in a simulation. Bostrom then offers 3 hypotheses. 1. Civilizations never get to the point where they are able to create such simulations of snapshots of their ancestors. 2. Civilizations at this level decide not to run such simulations. 3. We are almost definitely living in a simulation. Proponents of the simulation hypothesis often appeal to Moore's law, which states the power of computers doubles approximately every 2 years. While the law may indeed be slowing down in the conventional meaning, the development of quantum computing and artificial intelligence would suggest that at some juncture we will, in fact, develop this capability to simulate entire realities. Based on the trajectory of technological advancement, the implications are that it is statistically more likely that we find ourselves living in such a simulation than ever finding ourselves in base reality. The mysteries of quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is probably the best known and most puzzling area of modern physics, and it too has been invoked as a possible clue that we are living in a simulation. At the center of quantum mechanics lies a set of phenomena that utterly contradict our classical vision of reality. Perhaps most well known is the so-called in which is demonstrated that particles, such as electrons for example, can behave sometimes like a wave, sometimes as a particle, depending upon whether or not they are observed. This would make sense in terms of the hypothesis of simulation, because one of the suppositions underlying that idea is that reality doesn't really render until it's observed, just as objects and environments within a video game aren't rendered until the player is looking at them. In this manner, quantum indeterminacy and wave function collapse could be seen to constitute evidence for the simulated nature of our universe. Besides that, quantum entanglement, as Albert Einstein put it, allows 2 particles to spookily affect immediate changes upon each other, even over large distances. This seems to contravene the limit put by the speed of light from the theory of relativity and suggests that something deeper is going on. Perhaps the code underpinning the simulation. Even physicist James Gates has found what appears to be computer code buried in the equations of string theory, a finding that has lent credence to speculations that the fabric of reality could, in fact, be underpinned by computational processes. Mathematical precision in nature. Mathematics is sometimes referred to as the language of the universe. Indeed, much of the natural world can be described by mathematics. From gravity to electromagnetic theory, the fundamental laws of physics are based upon mathematical equations. Indeed, some have suggested that this ubiquity of mathematics throughout the structure of reality might be evidence that our universe is not a natural but rather some sort of simulation engineered by some other being or beings. For instance, for many years a problem that puzzled scientists was the so-called of the universe. The constants of nature, like gravitational and cosmological ones, are set in such a way that they seem to be in just the right ballpark to allow life to exist. Change any one of these constants even a little bit, and our universe simply could not exist. This has led some to believe our universe is a product of intelligent design, while through the lens of the simulation hypothesis, this can be seen as fine-tuning, which would support the fact that the parameters in our reality were set on purpose by whatever powers created the simulation. This can be viewed in relation to the idea espoused by Max Tegmark, a physicist and cosmologist, who stated that the universe at its very core is mathematical. He even said all of physical reality can be described by mathematical structures. The implied meaning here was that such structures could hint at a digital code buried at the heart of the simulation. The Fermi Paradox and the simulation argument. Fermi Paradox, the apparent problem or contradiction between the high probability of intelligent life being somewhere in the universe and the total lack of evidence for, or any contact with, such civilizations. With so many stars and therefore probable planets, scientists believe that intelligent life should be fairly common. Yet we see no evidence of extraterrestrial civilizations. One explanation of the Fermi Paradox within the setting of the simulation hypothesis is that we find ourselves within an explicitly isolated simulation. The simulators may just want to leave us alone, playing with us like some kind of controlled experiment, or for whatever reason. Another version is that there actually are alien civilizations. They are just outside our simulation. This feeling has been echoed, spread taken by many in the technological world. By Elon Musk, when he said that there was a 1 in billions chance we're living in base reality. He goes on to say that if highly advanced civilizations exist, they'd most likely have created simulations, and that it is way more probable we live in one of those simulations rather than in the original unsimulated universe. The uncanny nature of consciousness. One of the biggest enigmas of science is consciousness, the subjective experience of being aware. Despite a millennium of philosophical speculation and decades of scientific research, we still do not understand how exactly consciousness is created by the physical processes of the brain. According to some advocates, consciousness itself may be proof that our lives are virtual. Thus, the mind running a simulation can be considered as software going through an interface with hardware, which forms the brain. Consciousness in this regard would, therefore, be something mysterious and detached from physical reality, since our conscious experience is about this digitized reality, and not about the physical one. The simulation theory can be used to explain near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and other altered states of consciousness. These could be glitches in the simulation, times when the mind is temporarily detached from the program running within the simulated universe. That is a problem that is always going to be there, by definition, from philosophers like David Chalmers, who refer to the problem of consciousness as the hard problem, because it seems resistant to an explanation in purely physical terms. If our reality was simulated, that might indicate that the laws of the universe don't confine consciousness, but exist on a different level, perhaps even as a basic tenet of the simulation. Counterarguments and Skepticism. But the simulation hypothesis is just a fascinating yet provocative theory. As such, it is a very speculative hypothesis. Indeed, a great number of scientists and philosophers are rather skeptical of the fact that some people regard ourselves as living in some sort of a simulation, since no direct empirical evidence supports such speculation. There is one common refutation, according to which the computational power that would be needed to simulate a whole universe should indeed be unimaginably great. Poor reasoning continues because such an argument then easily collapses when it is followed by a suggestion that not all of the universe needs to be in real time, but only those parts under observation. This greatly cuts the computational resources necessary to run the simulation. Others argue that the simulation hypothesis, in principle, is unfalsifiable, and hence it can never be proved or disproved. In this aspect, simulation hypothesis plays the role of a sort of philosophical skepticism for the modern day, the belief in inability to know the true nature of reality. Conclusion: a new philosophical outlook towards reality. It is not an everyday thought, but we may indeed just be living in a simulation. Not just an interesting thought experiment, but a serious philosophical and scientific hypothesis. So long as a definitive proof about living in a simulated universe has yet to be found, the increasing convergence of technology, quantum physics, and theoretical speculation turns the simulation hypothesis into one of the most discussed ideas of our time. The simulation hypothesis is one intriguing framework in which to venture into the ultimate nature of existence, as further understanding develops concerning consciousness, computing, and even the fabric of reality itself. Whether or not we exist in a simulation, the inquiry into the very possibility pushes us to address fundamental questions about the nature of reality, consciousness, and our place within the cosmos. In this sense, the ideas it raises are invaluable for the advancement of our understanding of the universe, even if the simulation hypothesis ultimately proves to be false. Thank you for spending time with us through Spookscope today. Feel free to share your knowledge and wisdom in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends and family. Until next time, my dear spooker, stay curious.